Bitches like to drink our tea and mix our herbs intentionally. Light a candle, say a spell, and consult our tarot. Soon manifestation never spells we cast may come. Soon. Hi guys, so I'm back yet again to do yet another installment of Neo-Pagan November because I'm gonna finish what I started. I have a video in my phone that I can't get, so technically I'll have it, the last one, done tomorrow. But I'm just, wanting to get everything kind of caught up here. So in this video, I want to talk about cultural influence. And I'm going to take a page from Erie's Witchcraft. And although I did see a lot about cultural appropriation in some videos, I'm just going to kind of do it in reverse. And talk about how basically since time began, cultures have been influencing each other, or in some cases dominating each other, just like with the Romans went to Britain and other countries and basically fought and dominated, and a lot of their cultures with Ireland and things like that were actually forced upon them, and it's adapted into the culture that we know today. And of course, sadly, when it comes especially to paganism, some cultures have been completely and totally erased. So it's really difficult for us to find out now about our culture. Just like with the Native Americans, when people came over here now, and they put kids in these residential schools and beat and abused them, and basically took away their culture. There's a lot of cultures within Christianity that they actually took from the pagans. It always cracks me up when they point a finger at us and weaponize Christianity, but yet they make wishes and they blow out the candle of a birthday cake, or celebrate Advent, which is actually a pagan tradition. Lighting candles on or fires at Yule, the Christmas log and the Christmas tree. They light the Christmas tree and put ornaments and things on the Christmas tree, but yet we're the bad ones here. There's a lot of Christian holidays that they took from paganism in order to basically convert. If you weren't converting people and taking away their culture by force, which in the case of the Potawatomi, they basically had to give up their culture and were forced to convert to Catholicism. And that's going to be a whole nother video that I'm going to go into. Cultures have been forcing themselves upon each other, or even, in some cases, with interracial marriage, and cultures basically binding and intermingling. Halloween, the practices at Halloween or Samhain, at least in the Americas, are basically a combination of all these different cultures. They talk about trick-or-treating. Well, originally people would go from house to house and offer to pray for people in exchange for food. And it was called mumming or souling. Back in the day, in order to get prayers said for you, you had to offer money. Or if you thought someone in your family who had passed was going to hell, you had to go and you had to pay the church for that. But I do see where, and I don't see there, there's some, especially more the younger ones, that aren't paying proper respects to a culture. If you're using something in your spell work, and
I think cultural appropriation is different from everyone. As long as you're not profiting from it and you're paying it the proper respect. And when you're doing it, then doing your research, you should find out about the culture and where the history of that came from and put that, in your video or in your grimoire so that that gets passed down to whoever your book of shadows or grimoire or whatever gets passed down to, so that culture stays, alive, because there's a lot of cultures that, and mostly so due to capitalism now, that are just basically dying out, or said that they're evil or they're wrong, or, to me, if you're not breaking a law or committing some form of abuse, you know, you do you, boo boo. There are some things with different cultures that I don't do or I don't necessarily agree with. I don't believe in animal sacrifice. That's not something that I do. And I see a lot of indoctrination or misinformation when it comes to certain cultures, like with the Satanic Temple, saying that they sacrifice animals and babies. Well, if you look and read their books, it's not allowed to kill an innocent or to kill an animal. And there's just a lot of misinformation when it comes to certain cultures, or people just kind of switch things around, because it fits their narrative, such as Tacitus, for example, who was one of the people responsible for us learning about the Celtic culture. Look at the Bog people. We can't say whether or not they were sacrificed for religious reasons. It could have been that they died due to natural causes, and were, or it could have been that they were put as bound, or whatever, to keep from sinking, or some type of ritual, or even they were executed for a crime that they committed, because we killed these cultures basically through genocide, or whatever. We are never going to know the truth about some of the things that have, gone on because we've been denied access, or, people want, indoctrination is something that is really bad with culture. I was watching a video with Greg Locke where he was, indoctrinating these people, holding up a DC Comics tarot and saying that they were targeting kids. Well, a lot of people that are tarot readers like DC Comics, but, he had to change it to fit his narrative and say that people were going after their children, which in fact they're not. I mean, I don't see how a kid could just go into a bookstore without, a parent's consent or whatever. They got to have a ride. You got to be monitoring your kids, I mean, but just that indoctrination, it just seems to be a part of the culture nowadays. Lying on another religion because it doesn't suit their narrative, or trying to weaponize Christianity in order to scare people into converting to their religion, or lying on a political group, saying, like Greg Locke again, that if you're a Democrat, then you're not a Christian. People, propaganda, it just seems like people are just sort of just taking what, just kind of not being completely honest, or turning things to fit their needs. We need to learn from these different cultures, and learn about respect, because if we don't do that, then we're still going to be divided. And I think that some people benefit from the division between different countries, and the division between the religions, because it benefits them and suits their needs. It puts money in their pocket, because a lot of these churches donate to different politicians for their campaigns. So, not, it's just... Anyway, that's all I have for cultural influence, guys. Peace, love, and light.